I'm Kaycee McDonald, and this is 1 Hour. On today's episode of 1 Hour, we'll be discussing bias in the media. We'll learn how to identify it, what it is, and even its pros and cons. On today's episode, we'll be featuring an exclusive video with former President George W. Bush on bias and its effect on his administration. First, we'll take a look at former news director Robert Jackson on his crusade to educate high school students on bias in the media.
Robert Jackson is a former news director for several news stations nationwide. Though he is retired, he still visits area high schools to educate students about bias in the media. He believes it is important for students to recognize the source of bias in the news, and for students to understand that not everything they hear on the news or read in newspapers is completely factual. Chris Reynolds of the American Association for the Prevention of Biased Media, or AAPBM, talks more about why understanding bias is important.
Bias in the media is unavoidable. Every news outlet, in some way, shape, or form, does it. They're guilty of the crime. I mean, it's criminal. They all do it to attract a specific audience. And it's just criminal. I mean, it's criminal. It's criminal, criminal, criminal. K-R-I-M-N-E-L. Criminal. Alright, I don't know how to say it. It's criminal. Essentially, bias is when news outlet sways in a particular direction and purposely uses a lineup to confirm its beliefs. Bias can also be caused by corporate interest. It's pretty criminal, but it's true. And also, another big one is ratings. I mean, it's horrible to say, but it's true. Ratings are a big, big fuel. It's criminal. It's horrible. And I don't like it so much. And that's just criminal. Okay, we here at the AAPBM, okay, we're trying to get citizens aware of the bias in the media so they can become more aware and more proactive of the criminal media. I mean, it's just criminal what they're doing. And the media, of course, not the citizens. And the citizens, they can petition their news stations to start giving more accurate newscasts, and all that opinions and whatnot. Okay, if news stations were left unchecked by organizations such as ours, they would ultimately become domestic enemies, swaying citizens to believe false information. Can't happen. That's criminal. Can't happen. But bias can only be negatively affect citizens of the United States. People need to form their own opinions and not blindly follow news stations. Because when they do, it's pretty criminal. It's criminal, criminal, criminal. And it gets me so frustrated when all this criminal activity goes unpunished, criminalized, whatever. Yeah, it's angry. It's angrified. I get very upset.
So President Bush, how are you?
You can just call me former ex-president, whatever. I don't really care. I'm doing pretty good, I'm just taking a little R&R, relaxing and relaxificating in my new house in Dallas. Everything's going pretty well. I took off the tag because I'm quote-unquote off the job. Whatever.
What is your definition of bias?
Well, I would say for me, bias is when the mean people in the media take their ideas and force them upon you in subliminally ified ways through the media. Like for example, when they use their corporate interests and certain audiences to kind of like sway their newscasts in certain directiones.
Can you tell me how bias affected your administration?
Well, as you can tell, I ended in a recession, and I also started in a recession too, whatever. So the bias portrayed me as a monster in my administration, like a Condi and Dick, you know what I'm saying? We're portrayed as monsters in the administration of our nation.
What do you think should change in the media, Mr. President?
Well, I think that media should start giving more factual information in their newscasts, and not, for example, giving us such polarized information, whether it be liberal or conservative. You understand, Kate, what I'm saying? Like really, hey, stop hand, bad hand. Barbara, can you get my medications? Anyways, what I was saying is, like the news should be more aware of what Americans want, and start giving us what we want. We're Americans, and we deserve the best the news in the world.
What should Americans do about the problem of bias in the media?
I think that Americans should start to petition their news stations and write to their reporters and everything, because we need to tell them on a first-hand basis that we don't want that biased information anymore. We don't want this prejudice right here. We want the truth, facts, and like we don't want that the polarized stuff. Like we don't want all that liberal stuff or all that conservative stuff. We just want the facts, you know. I mean, come on, this is America, you know. I mean, we're here at Crawford right now, you know. We're just having a good time, you know.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
Anytime right now. Hey, Condi Dick, we're gonna go play some frisbee, right?
To an extent, yes, because it gives the people a template to base their ideas off. Well, I think the public's responsibility for viewing media is that they can just watch it or read it or anything, but they can't take this personal account where violence or bias can be replicated.
It can sway people's opinions and make them believe things that aren't true.
As you have seen, bias is a tendency or inclination that presents an unprejudiced view of a particular subject. As active citizens in the U.S. government, we should look for bias in the media and form our own opinions so we can help advance the cause of democracy. I'm Kaycee McDonald, and this has been 1 hour.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best.